Kamala Harris is a typical woman. And I'm not talking about eyeliner and makeup. If I was, then I'd be talking about J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. Now, I'm talking about typical woman insofar as she has to work 3 times harder than any man to get done what she wants to accomplish. Unless that man is Donald Trump, the Hitler-loving, dictator-loving, adjudicated rapist, and 34 times convicted felon. And then Kamala has to work 10 times harder and still does not get the credit she deserves, especially in the media, who have been living off of Donald Trump's feeble-minded antics for decades. Well, with less than 2 weeks to go in the election, the media is finally starting to talk about its reckless double standard for Kamala Harris. CNN's Jake Tapper and Van Jones both talked explicitly last night about the media's Kamala can't please us attitude and implicitly leveled that criticism at Republican apologist Dana Bash. Kamala Harris was at a CNN town hall last night, and she was there without Donald Trump, who refuses to debate her because he knows she will wipe the floor with him. So without Trump, Harris was able to interact with the audience knowledgeably and without interruption. She had some stellar moments, but here's what Dana Bash had to say afterwards.
Well, I'll just tell you what I'm hearing from people who I have been talking to, and that is that if her goal was to close the deal, they're not sure she did that. And, you know, some people have asked, is she being held to a different standard? Maybe, but that's maybe the world that she's living in. And on the question of who she is, people are understanding that a little bit more. But what she will do, the question about her legislative priorities, name one, there wasn't one. You know, some more of her personality and her sort of character questions about your weaknesses or what mistakes did you make? Not necessarily the answers there.
That right there, what you just saw Dana Bash doing, that is not journalism. It's just mouthing the sound bites of the political party that you want to help succeed. Harris didn't talk policy. That has been a lame Republican talking point for over 2 months now, and it's dead on inaccurate. One might even say an outright lie. Harris spoke about several of her policies, and this is precisely why CNN is losing audience share and money. Instead of trained journalists with counterposing views, having actual debate, CNN offers this Fox-like gaslighting by Republican and Trump apologists, and then depends on center-left journalists to set the record straight if and when they can ever get out from under the gish gallop of inaccurate memes and getting shouted down by the other side. Well, Jake Tapper and Van Jones have had enough. Here's what Tapper had to say last night.
You know, it strikes me what's interesting about the moment we're in right now is that we in the media are treating Vice President Harris like we treat a normal politician, and we're critiquing her answers, and we're talking about, well, she could have said this differently, she could have said that differently. Meanwhile, the Republican nominee literally is talking about liberals being the enemy within, talking about using the military to go after these people. His defenders say, oh, no, he's talking about going after illegal immigrants, or he's going after mobs in the street. And Trump will say, no, no, no. I mean, going after the Pelosi's, going after Adam Schiff, going after Democrats. And these campaigns are in 2 different universes.
Yep. Now, the amazing thing here is that Tapper is so clearly going after Dana Bash as being one of the prime promoters of this double standard. And she has to sit there and take it because he doesn't call her out explicitly, and he has the floor. Not only that, but Tapper brought receipts, talking about how Trump gets to spew fascist rhetoric and get away with it, even though that rhetoric is frequently directed at the media. Van Jones is a little more metaphorical, but absolutely on the nose in calling out this double standard.
Look, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump are not taking the same exam.
Yeah.
And I think it bothers people. They're not taking the same exam. He gets to be lawless. She has to be flawless. That's what's unfair.
That's
what's unfair. That's what's unfair tonight. That's what's unfair tonight. They're not taking the same exam. Look, she has policies. She may not articulate them perfectly every time. She may not put the stories in the right places, but she's fighting for actual ideas that will help real people. And he's talking about people's penises. And so they are not taking the same exam, and that's pissing people off. It's pissing me off.
He gets to be lawless. She has to be flawless is now trending, and well, it should be. Van Jones just gave the line that should stick for the rest of the campaign. But here's the real test of whether this speaking out will actually last through this campaign cycle like it should. There are only two questions that every self-respecting journalist should be asking Trump right now. The first, can you name one positive thing that Adolf Hitler accomplished? And its corollary, what is it about Hitler that you admire? Forget what Trump deserves. We all know what Trump deserves, and it's waiting for him after this election. But those questions are the kind of scrutiny the American people deserve. I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.